I'm gonna cut some meat off for this collar. Oh, look at that. Just see the marks of the pin all the way along the line.
You're coming too. From Washington State to now sunny California, we've been at it for 5 years. It began with selling our previous boat and taking that money to buy tools and build a shed. We assembled keel pieces, poured the ballast, and raised all 16 frames in the first 6 months.
There's a boat in there.
Now, half a decade later, and at a slower but steady pace, we're in the water. We're Salt and Tar, and this is our life. Like, subscribe, and support if you can. Last time, Swabby taped and paid the cabin top seams. And today, we're continuing on with the Mizzen mast.
Don't worry about it.
Garrett's filled all the imperfections with putty and has now finished sanded the mast.
I'm just doing it super simple because eventually this is all just going to go black, same with all the spars, so I'm not going to, I was going to do a Dutchman's, but I just want to get the mast up and go sailing, so.
And it'll eventually go black just because the layers and layers of soup that we just keep slushing onto the rig.
That's the style I want to go anyway, because it's, you know, with the mast, like, I don't really see the point of trying to keep them like bright and shiny. Like, yeah, it looks good, but it's a gaff rig, so there's constantly, the parrel beads are going up and down, the gaff jaws are going up and down, and when you're sailing, like cruising, and you're sailing all the time, there's no way to keep a bright shiny finish on the mast unless, you know, you want to go with some like epoxies and super hard varnishes and stuff like that, and it's not my style. So yeah, with the masts and the booms and the gaffs and everything, eventually the coats, when we keep adding the coats of slush and soup and everything, it's just probably going to consistently be a little bit more tarry, and then it'll all just kind of go like tarry black. So that's why I'm not really worrying too much about the little aesthetic defects in the mast. So, and now I'm just marking for the, I'm going to cut some meat off for this collar. So we've got this little bronze collar that came with the sticks, and then so I just got to route a little meat off of it, slide that right on the top. That's going to take our peak halyard for our for the mizzen, and then on the other side that's going to be a block for like a mizzen staysail, or, you know, any sort of light wind, downwind sail we want to run up the mizzen. And these two are going to be for little running backs. And then right below that, I'm going to make a couple hounds. This is an old one that came off this mast, but I'm just going to make a couple hounds like right below that, one on either side, and then just use those to loop the shrouds around.
You gotta make the mast step still?
Yeah. So I started getting that measured up, and I got pattern made, and I've got the hunk of fur to use for it, so I'll just trace that pattern out and start rough cutting. It's a big old like 4x12 or something. So yeah, basically just gonna connect the dots.
Our main mast will soon have a partner, slightly shorter and just behind it, going through the aft deck.
I move the peg. You need me to move it?
Yeah.
Being the smarty pants he is, he didn't cut the full 4 inches back, but chiseled the first inch to make sure his cuts were deep enough to sit the collar.
Alright, there's the collar. So I'll seat it on there.
Next up, the hounds.
Cutting a little recess for the hounds, so I'm just gonna slop a little goo on there and then put some sealant and then drill it and screw it in. But since it's not gonna be down on deck and nobody's gonna see it, I just kind of did a real fast and dirty job, so that's how it is. there. And right there. Now, since this black locust is so hard, found that if I don't like really make sure, that the locust is drilled the full diameter, of the screw, it'll just snap. So I'm just gonna like just snug one in there real quick. So that one's angled like that, so this one will angle the opposite way. Look at me.
Wasn't your pants? Completely?
Garrett's rolled the mast over and is marking for the second hound, while I remove all the tape from the cabin top. It's one of those jobs I unusually enjoy. I hate taping because it feels like such a waste, but the satisfaction of peeling it back and revealing a clean line, knowing you have less to sand later, softens the blow. The cabin top and the deck still have to be sanded to clean up the seams, then oiled, but we'll let them naturally gray out. Already they've been mistaken for teak. And Garrett finished the hounds just in time for dinner.
Cutting this slab of fur I got down to size. I'm just cutting it to the width right now, which I just need 9 inches. So I already took a slice off this side. So I'm gonna do the same one here. I only have my little skill saw, so I'm just doing it in 2 passes. So got my one line. That's the first little sliver I took off of it, just to get that funky outside bit off. Sweet, there it is. Beautiful piece of fur.
All right, so Garrett's given me the go-ahead to put our first coat of soup on the Mizzen mast, and yeah, yesterday Garrett got the Mizzen collar fit and also the 2 hounds, so we're ready for our first coat of soup.
Just cutting out the angles on the mast step. I got it all cut down to width. I threw my pattern on here. Bam. I already got this side cut, and I got my first cut on this side. My skill saw can only cut, you know, that deep into it. So I just do one pass, and then I shorten the depth of the cut, and then I just do the other pass. Works pretty fine. There's usually, like, you know, sometimes there's a slight, I don't know if you can even see that, but there's like a slight little ridge most of the time, but I mean, that's like almost nothing. So I can just take a swipe with the planer. That'll be done real quick. So alright, I'm gonna do my next pass.
If you notice some old termite holes, don't worry. We actually baked this whole block in my parents' oven, just to be sure nothing was still alive.
Okay, so here's the last little bit. I just have to take that all off. So I'm gonna find out my bevel, something like that, and I'm gonna take that, transfer it onto that blade, and then cut it out. Oh, look at that. You can just see the marks of the pen all the way along the line. Perfect. I've got one keel bolt that's in my way of putting this down on top of the keel timber where it sets on. So I just have to go make a couple measurements, transfer them over to here, and then wherever the keel bolt lies on this thing, I'll just make a dot and then take a big Forstner bit and just cut out a spot for it.
Up next, we
Cut our mizzen shrouds.
and Garrett shapes the peg into the base of the mizzen. Finishes the mast step and gets it secured in place.
So we're ready for our first cup of soup.
Oh my god. So pretty.